Hello, heathens, and welcome to Spinning the Wheel podcast with me, your host, Megan Angus. And this week we are going to be taking a quick look at Yule season, full moon in Cancer, lunar week 47. This is Yule season, almost Imbolc season. We're just right at the edge of stepping into Imbolc season. This is going to be a quickie because I want to try a little something, my disclaimer, right? This podcast is still a bit of an experiment for me. All right, we'll just see how things move along. Okay, how about that? All right. As I like to say every week, if you love the podcast, you can support this work through Patreon. Thank you so much to all my patrons. You can leave a review on your podcast service where you listen to this. And if you are feeling especially heretical, you can give it a thumbs up or a 5-star rating, 5, of course, being an extremely occult number. Okay. Before we get into the bits, I have a few dates of things that are coming up. The Welcome to Tarot 6-week workshop will be starting January 25th. If you are thinking about grabbing a ticket to that, I advise that you do so sooner versus later. It's about half sold at this point. So there's that. That'll be a 6-week workshop. We're teaching those classes every Tuesday. 12 people in total are going to be able to attend that. I'm really looking forward to it. I had a lot of fun teaching that workshop last time, and I'm going to have even more fun teaching it this time, or else everybody... No, I'm kidding. It should be lovely. And then in March, we have 3 standalone tarot workshops. The first is March 8th, and that is a walk through the major arcana, looking at the Fool's Road or the Fool's Journey, which is a sacred pathway of learning the major arcana. And then on March 9th, we are going to be taking a look at reversals, inverted cards, upside down cards. Do you work with them? Do you not? And if you do, or if you have thought about working them with them, but you're like, I don't know, this is like another 78 definitions I'm going to have to learn. Here is an introduction to ways of working with those cards. And March 10th, I think, we have our 3rd standalone class, which will be an introduction to the combination of tarot and astrology, how those two schools of thought and magic work together. Do they, and how so? And ways that we can utilize that as tarot readers and as astrologers, including but not limited to learning how to read the natal chart like a tarot reading. Dun, dun, dun. Pretty cool shit. Okay, also coming up, the next Wheel of the Year class will be January 27th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on my site and my YouTube channel. You can sign up and subscribe at my YouTube channel to get alerts. You can sign up for the newsletter to get alerts, etc., etc., etc. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on. To orient you in the season, we are here in the very last weeks and days of Yule season. We are working with holidays and archetypes that encourage a return to source, focusing on the ideas of death and rebirth, archetypes and entities and deities as the embodiment of wisdom, and working with ancestors in a wide variety of ways. We are honoring them. We might be sweeping tombstones and repairing gravestones. We might be asking them for help through divination and through prophecy, etc. Maybe we're just telling old stories and gossiping, right? And remembering them that way, all of that good stuff. And when we look around the planet at our global themes, we see very similar stuff in the holidays that are happening around the world: rebirth, transformation, ancestors, enlightenment, wisdom, and the birth, the rebirth, or the return of solar and light deities. And I would say that for the most part, that has already happened. By now, here in the middle of January, when we look around the planet, the majority of the religions and cultural practices, past and present, that celebrate a rebirth or a return or a reawakening of the solar and the light deities of those cultures and those paradigms. Generally, that return has already happened by now, here in the middle of January. We might find a few more that pop up, but I would say for the most part, those are already done. Okay. How's everybody doing with the Mercury retrograde? How's everybody doing with the Venus retrograde? Here's a little story for you. After I take a sip of this delicious water, here's an interesting story for you. Interesting to me. Hopefully it's interesting to you as well. um So I, like the rest of you, have been experiencing this Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde as well. Last year, as I've talked about a little bit, not too much, went through a pretty potent breakup after being with my ex for, basically the last 10 years. Um, and I really assumed that this Venus retrograde in particular would be all about that work, even though this was coming a few months after, the last things were done and said and all that stuff. I figured, oh, this is going to be this review time. All this stuff's going to come up about this relationship. Blah, blah, blah. No, not for me. No, for me, Venus. So I'm looking at my natal chart and I'm looking at the house or the houses that Venus is retrograding through. And it has been my 11th house and my 10th house. So it's been my house of my long-term career goals. That's 10th house, right? But also my 11th house, my family and friends at large, my global social group, as it has turned out, throughout my life. And as I posted for my patrons the other day, I had an opportunity to participate in a really cool project that is a documentary about the fringe, freak, art scene, poetry scene, music scene in Las Vegas in the 90s, in the underground. It was not big. Nobody epic really came out of that scene. I mean, there's some connections, the Killers and things like that, are vaguely connected to that. But in general, it's not about some epic band or some epic, performer or entertainer coming out of that. It's not that we crash the system or anything. It's very much about the fact that in the face of all of this capitalism, that we were insistent that we were going to express ourselves. We were insistent, on the idea that not all of the entertainment and interesting things were happening on the strip, that there was other stuff going on in the city. But I don't want to give away too much about the film. It's called Parkway of Broken Dreams. I absolutely encourage you to get in touch with your local independent cinema and demand that it come to your town. Mostly because I think it's interesting. Other people might not, but I think that it's a very cool commentary on something that was happening all over the country in the 90s. And in other eras as well, where lots of towns across the country had their own underground scene that is otherwise not ever going to be recorded or talked about because it wasn't the mainstream. It wasn't in alignment with the reputation of the city. And so from the Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, right? Mercury is about our friends and our thoughts and our communications and our networks, right? Venus is about our relationships, and it's also about our creativity. So here was this huge flashback to these scenes that I used to be a part of and this art that I was making at this time, whether it was poetry or the bands I was in or the way I dressed or the artwork I was making and putting on walls or whatever it was. This very cool, weird trip down memory lane, retrograde, looking at all of this stuff from the past. It's been a real weird and cool trip, but another effect of that was I went down to Portland and saw it. I saw it here in Seattle, and all of these people from my past lives showing up and being like, oh my God, I haven't seen some of these people in, 25 years. Some folks, maybe closer to 30 years, some of these people. whether I'm seeing them in the film or I'm seeing them in person. I didn't realize you moved up here to Portland or Seattle or whatever. So here's been my Venus retrograde, and my Mercury retrograde has been all of these past lives coming up, these past ways that I worked with my creativity, that I utilized it, like how what I did and who I hung out with and how I presented myself became my reputation. And what did I think about that? What did I do with that? All of that stuff. It's been a real trip. It's been really, really cool, but it's also been really, really weird. So, how has the Mercury retrograde and the Venus retrograde been playing out for you? Have you had relationships come up from the past? Romantic, platonic, familial, whatever, right? Have you had old forms of self expression come up from the past? Old art forms, have they come up from the past? Old friend networks, like all of that stuff. What's it look like for you? I'm curious. Leave a comment below. But seriously, like send me an email or leave a comment or whatever. Like I'm actually curious because I really thought I knew how this was going to play out for me, and it's been significantly different and really fun. Weird, but fun. But weird, but fun. Okay. All right. Breaking with tradition, we are, for the most part, not going to talk about the holy days this week. If you are a patron, go check out the calendar. They are all on the calendar. If you have any questions, email me and we can talk about it. So we are going to scooch to January 18th very quickly, wherein we find two astrological doodads happening. One, Uranus stations direct at 10 degrees of Taurus. Uranus is our planet of upsets, sudden events, shocking events, surprising events, things, conversations, people out of left field, bizarre, unexpected events and ideas and elements. And showing up in Taurus, well, Taurus, Uranus has been in Taurus for some time and is going to be here for some time. So we may on the global stage see some sort of financial upset, some sort of financial wow kind of moment. Could be an earthquake too. In our personal lives, though, we may see this as just like a shocking or unexpected opportunity that suddenly shows up in whatever part of our life Taurus covers when we're talking about the houses versus the signs in our natal chart. Also, on this day, connected, we have the nodes finally moving out of Gemini and Sagittarius and into Taurus and Scorpio. North node moving into Taurus, south node moving into Scorpio. And so obviously we have a lot of emphasis on Taurus on this day. And for me, the astrologer, we've been talking about the nodes moving and changing signs for some time now. So it's official on this day. With the North Node in Taurus, this is astrologically pointing to lots of new opportunities for everyone in the realms of physical security, financial security, our stuff, our possessions, our relationships to our stuff and our possessions, all of the things that we need or think that we need to help us feel secure and safe here on the physical plane. North Node is going to be bringing us all kinds of new and possibly even intimidating experiences, people, conversations, situations, thoughts, feelings around those concepts of physical security and what do I need or what do I think I need to be physically secure, to feel physically secure. Taurus really speaks to, Taurus is ruled by Venus, also in retrograde right now. And that side of Venus really speaks to our possessions and our stuff and our physical style and, where I want to put the couch and all of that. And so as the North Node moves through Taurus, it's going to be bringing us all these opportunities to consider, do I really believe this? Do I really think this? And how do I want to act on it? What am I going to do about it? All of that. Okay. Scooching on very quickly through the week. January 19th, the sun enters Aquarius. And this is bringing a fair amount of emphasis to the fixed sign axis that's happening. We have the nodes moving into Taurus and Scorpio, both fixed. We have the sun entering Aquarius. We have Jupiter traveling through Aquarius, just about to enter Pisces, or maybe it did already. Oh no, it did. It already entered Pisces. All lies. But the sun is here now. um, and we've had the moon in the background moving through Leo, right? So for these days, January 18th, 19th into the 20th, there's this moment of like lots of emphasis on all of the fixed signs. Could be a day or two that everything sort of feels locked in place. Nobody's going to change their mind on anything. Nobody's going to change their opinions about anything. So, put yourself in timeout, give it a day or two, pick the conversation back up later. If everybody's feeling very stodgy and stubborn about things, just give it a minute. Moving on very quickly through the week. Can you believe on January 20th, we have almost more or less no holy days. We have Guru Gobind Singh Jayanti on this day, which is a Jayanti or a celebration of the Guru Gobind Singh, very important person to the Sikhs. But in classical world and the modern world, that is literally the only holiday I could find. I was like, did I miss something? Did I mess up my own calendar? This can't be a blank day. It is. So enjoy the more or less having a day off from having to worship any gods. Moving to January 21st, we have our disseminating moon in Virgo at 16 degrees, 1:41 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, later in the day for everybody else. And when the moon moves into Virgo, this brings a really heavy emphasis to all of the earth signs that are in the sky or in our charts or whatever, like wherever it is that you have earth signs in your chart. There's a lot of action there right now. So we've got the moon in Virgo, earth. We've got Uranus stationing direct in Taurus, as well as the nodes, the north node having just moved into Taurus, earth. And then we have Pluto, who's been hanging out in Capricorn for like 1,000 years. It's going to be there for another, 1,000 years, whatever. 1,000. That's technical term, but means a lot. But we also have Venus retrograding through Capricorn right now, right? So we've got like lots. I believe Mercury has made it back into Capricorn at this point too, and it's retrograde as well. So lots of emphasis on Earth stuff. And our disseminating moon is about the fruits of our labor, but when those fruits start to become ripe. So we talked about with the full moon, we're in our process, and at the full moon, we start to see some results. We start to see some product. We start to see some effect from our actions. At the disseminating moon, those fruits start to become ripe. So now not only is it, here's the result of my actions, but now I can start to be bettered or enriched from my results. It's not just that the results have arrived, but I can now start to partake in those results. They are sweet, they're good, they're ready. So this might just look like you in your own personal process figuring out how it is that you are connecting with people in your world, in the physical world, versus I've been thinking about this or I have feelings about this. Now I'm ready to physically manifest. Now I'm ready to physically act on my thoughts or my feelings. It could be just something as simple as that. It might be more complex. Again, I would recommend that you check out the houses that the earth signs are sitting in: Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. What is that? Where are they? This is where we're going to have a lot of our Mercury retrogrades throughout the year. Our Mercury retrogrades this year are all going to be in air signs into earth signs. I think I talked about this last week. Maybe I didn't, but I think that's really cool because that's what our North Node is doing too. It's been in an air sign and now it's moving into an earth sign. That's what our Mercury retrogrades are all doing this year as well. They're going to start out in air signs and roll backwards into earth signs. So we get to have a conversation with ourselves multiple times this year, as well as watch it play out with our friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, communities. What is it to think about the thing? And then what is it to physically act on the thing? What is it to conceptualize something? And then what is it to take that concept and manifest it? That's what's up with that whole process. Also happening January 21st, we move into the Celtic tree month of Rowan. That runs from January 21st through February 17th. The Rowan moon, that's our full moon that we are starting off the week with, is associated with the goddess Brigid or Breed, who is the Celtic goddess of hearth and home. She is honored at Imbolc quite a bit, and we will talk about her a lot in the Imbolc class. Breed is a fire goddess who offers protection to mothers and families, as well as watching over the hearth fires or the heart of the home. This is a good time of year to perform initiations. We will also talk about this a lot in the Imbolc class. Known by the Celts as Lush, the Rowan is associated with astral travel, personal power, and success, all sitting very nicely with Capricorn energy and Aquarius. A charm carved into a bit of rowan twig will protect the wearer from harm. The Norsemen were known to have used rowan branches as rune staves of protection. And in some countries, rowan is planted in graveyards to prevent the dead from lingering around too long. And now I'm wondering, did I mention, oh yeah, on January 19th, the sun is entering Aquarius. Did I say that already? The sun is entering Aquarius in tropical astrology. Not true for our sidereal and Vedic friends, but absolutely true for tropical. And for me, when we hit the tropical sign, it's sort of like the preamble to the holiday. I feel like I did say all of this, but I've had some problems recording today. So also, maybe I did say it and you didn't hear it. Is there anything else I want to say about this week? Scrolling through rapidly to discover if there's anything else that I need to say about this week. I really don't think so. I think that is everything that I'm going to cover. All right, that's it. Quick and dirty, short and sweet. I love you all so much. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I hope this little break is good for you. I think it is. Every now and then I need to be weeded. not like the normal way, but like actually, thinned out a little. The TLDR of this week really truly is all about this full moon in Cancer. Tuck in, get cozy, take care of yourself, snuggle up with your loved ones, and stare at the moon. Take some time to literally just go out. If you have clear skies, go out and enjoy this beautiful, wild, incredible satellite that circles our planet because it's just neat. Think about your gods and goddesses. Think about nothing at all. Think about your friends and family. Think about love. Think about connection. Think about oceans. Think about nothing. All of that is totally appropriate. We have had some hard times. We're going to have more work this year. All of our problems will be right there where we left them when we get back. But I really think that this moon is a beautiful moon to just like put the books down, put the theory down, put all of the like talking and the brainification of it all, right? Just put all of that down for a minute and just be. Just be with your feelings, be with yourself, be with your loved ones, be with your snuggly blanket, be with your peppermint cocoa. Just be. That's it. Love you so much, my heathens. Blessed be.